from Washington, this is VOA News. A 12-hour Middle East ceasefire is announced, and Ebola takes its first life in Nigeria. I'm Vincent Bruce, reporting from Washington. Israel has declared a 12-hour-long ceasefire in Gaza for Saturday. That's according to a U.S. official. Reportedly, the pause in fighting would start around 7 a.m. local time or 400 Universal Time, and the ceasefire would be in honor of Eid, the Muslim holiday marking the end of Ramadan, according to U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry. This announcement comes after Kerry told reporters in Cairo that he believes Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is committed to working towards a ceasefire. Israeli media reports say Mr. Netanyahu and his cabinet want changes in a proposed 7-day truce with Hamas militants proposed by Egypt. Kerry said the pause in the fighting would be used to bring all sides together to look at the underlying issues that have led to weeks of deadly violence between Israelis and Palestinians. The World Health Organization is calling for a humanitarian corridor in Gaza to transport the wounded for urgent treatment to medical facilities outside the conflict zone. As Lisa Schlein reports from Geneva, the WHO says the emergency medical facilities should be located at crossing points between the Gaza Strip and Israel, as well as neighboring Egypt and Jordan.
WHO reports 4 hospitals, 12 clinics, and 10 ambulances, as well as a specialized center for the disabled, have been damaged. It says surgical wards have been put out of service. It says all functioning health facilities are suffering severe shortages of supplies, particularly for surgical practices. The UN Health Agency says a humanitarian corridor would facilitate the delivery of such supplies. Lisa Schlein for VOA News, Geneva.
Nigeria has confirmed the Ebola virus is present in the country as officials report a man who died in Lagos Friday tested positive. A VOA Hausa service reporter in Lagos identified the deceased man as 40-year-old Patrick Sawyer, a Liberian who became ill soon after arriving on a flight from Monrovia on Sunday. Nigeria is now the 4th West African country to confirm the presence of Ebola. The virus has killed hundreds of people this year in Guinea, Sierra Leone, and Liberia. In northern Nigeria, the health of many HIV/AIDS patients is rapidly declining as a nationwide doctor strike has reported 30,000 medical officials choosing not to work. The Nigerian Medical Association says the strike is the only way they know to rescue Nigeria's flailing healthcare system. Meanwhile, nurses accuse strikers of abandoning public care in favor of more lucrative private practices. Top Obama administration officials say the United States is considering a pilot program which would involve screening some youths in Honduras to see if they qualify for refugee status in the United States. Officials say the youngsters could be interviewed before they make the dangerous journey to the U.S. border, as tens of thousands of children from Central America have done already this year. VOA's Cindy Sain has some early reaction to the suggestion from Capitol Hill.
White House spokesman Josh Earnest said President Barack Obama was considering possible options after talks at the White House Friday with the presidents of Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador.
This pilot program is aimed squarely at deterring those individuals who may be contemplating a trip from Central America to the southwest border with the U.S.
Ernest said no decisions have been made. He said the program would be limited but could be expanded to include other Central American countries. Cindy Sain, VOA News, on Capitol Hill.
The Pentagon says it has information that a transfer of Russian arms to Ukrainian separatists is imminent. Pentagon spokesman Steve Warren made the statement Friday, saying officials believe the transfer will involve heavier caliber, more capable artillery systems than those used previously. The U.S. for weeks has said Russia is supplying the separatists with arms and equipment. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 133 points Friday. The S&P 500 lost 9.82, and the Nasdaq Composite dropped 23.65. More at voanews.com. I'm Vincent Bruce, reporting in Washington.
That's the latest world news from VOA.